Hey, it's Vass here from Aussie RC Playground, and we are back with yet another unboxing. This one from ARRMA. Once again, we have the Vorteks 2-3S 1/10 scale brushless stadium truck. This is a two-wheel drive vehicle capable of 50 plus miles an hour on 3-cell or 80 kilometers an hour. It does come with dynamic stability control. It is, of course, fully waterproof, as all of the ARRMAs tend to be. It looks absolutely incredible. And I gotta say, I just had to get myself one. I have not had a two-wheel drive vehicle, I think, since the Raider XL from way back then when they were first released. And yeah, it's been a long time between drinks. This has definitely piqued my interest because the chassis kind of resembles a little bit of the Voltage design, but there's also a couple of elements here from the original two-wheel drive chassis, such as the battery loading is from underneath rather than having to take the body off and everything else. So looks really cool, very promising. It is available in 3 different colors. You've got the green or yellow, there's also a pink, and of course, as you saw, I got myself the blue one, and I couldn't resist. I actually wanted the green, but they were out of stock of the green at the time, so I decided to get the blue. And I gotta say, the blue actually does look pretty good. Not gonna lie, it does look very, very nice. So as you can see, this is everything you get out of the box. You get the car fully assembled and ready to go. You get your radio, of course, and you get a bag of goodies that I know you are all dying to see what it is you get. You do get some hex drivers. I think this is a 2mm and a 2.5. Very, very nice. You also get this little baggie here, which has a couple of cool things. You get preload spacers for your shocks. These are plastic, non-threaded bodied shocks. So in order to adjust your preload, you need these little guys to clip on. You also get this little tool here, which looks like a little aluminium pew-pew, but this is actually designed to work across a couple of different components in your car, including your slipper clutch, I believe, or removing your spur gear, adjusting your spur gear. It's got a couple of purposes. There is instructions on what this is for in the manual, so be sure to check that out. And last but not least, you get a 1.5mm hex key as well, which would most likely just be for like your pinions and so forth. There is a little card here for your quick, QR codes showcase, and I think there's a support one as well. You can hang on to that and put it in your wallet. You do get 4 AA's for the radio. Really handy that ARRMA actually include these in the kit. And last but not least, there is some more literature here, which I know you are all dying to see. There is a bit of a promo, save 15% on Spectrum gear. So if you want to go down, and sort of invest into that ecosystem, you've got something there to help you out and get started. And then there are what looks like 2 manuals. This is more like your exploded view type thing. Here's some illustrations of where that little aluminium key can be useful. And then this opens up to all your exploded views, or all your parts in the exploded view. This is handy to keep in your toolbox or in the glove compartment of your car or whatever. If you are going out there bashing and you happen to have a bit of a mishap, you break something, quick glance at this, you can see what part's missing and find out where you can get it, whether you buy it online, go down to your local hobby shop, wherever. Really handy thing to keep in your car. And then you have the more technical manual, which of course talks about different speeds for, depending on the setting of your radio. I think this is written in a couple of different languages, hence why it's a bit thick, but it basically gives you, the whole operation of how to set up your radio, let up your batteries, turn the car on, how to adjust all the settings on the dials of the radio and all that sort of thing. I know that a lot of you really enjoy reading this to your kids to put them to sleep. So yeah, another addition for you to put in the RC library. So moving on to the radio, as we always do. This is a radio that I think is the same one that came with the 4x4 Vorteks. Does look pretty good. Loads the 4 AA's from underneath here. You just basically open up this little guy and pop them in there. It does feel really good in the hand. The handle is not perfectly straight. You can see it's got a bit of a curve to it. Sits in the palm of the hand really comfortably. It's actually a really nice, comfortable radio to hold. Of course, you can use your thumb there to steer it as well. Trigger feels nicely weighted, it's well positioned. The foam wheels got some good springs on it. It's not super loud and clunky. It actually feels pretty good. You know, everything about it is actually really, really nice. I do like the little blue touch that they've put with the stickers to match the car. I would presume that the other ones will have different color stickers to match those colors on the cars. So that's pretty nice. As far as dials and everything else, we have our steering, what I believe is our dial for the gyro right there. We have our steering trim just over here, little LED standby light just there to let you know when the radio's on or when the battery's going flat or what have you. We also have our 50, 75 and 100% here. This little switch will allow you to drop the power down, you know, the top speed of the car. If you're fairly new to the hobby or you're lending this out to maybe one of your kids or, you know, a friend or whatever that doesn't have all the experience in the world, you can turn down the top speed so they're not smacking this thing into, you know, curbs and trees and other people's legs at full speed. Over here is the reverse switch for the steering servo, and over here we have the on-off button, which is in orange. So there is no dials or anything like that for the throttle. I guess it's not needed really. In most cases in electric vehicles, you don't really touch the throttle trim or anything like that. So it is, I guess, you know, kind of cool that it's not here. But that's really it. Radio kind of sits up like that. You can't really stand it up. The base is not perfectly flat. And even if it was, it's so small that even a slight breeze will probably knock this thing over anyway. So lay it down like that or like this, and yeah, you shouldn't have any problems with this guy. So finally, we get to check out the car itself, and it still has this plastic cover on it. So before I even bring it up to the camera, let's do the honors. Let's take this thing off, and away we go. There is a brand new Vorteks two-wheel drive right there for us to have a look at. Nice front bumper. Really like the styling, design, and everything that they've done with this particular vehicle. Got a wheelie bar already pre-mounted there. We have our spoiler, which looks nice and solid. And of course we got some roof skids on here as well. Notice that there's no body pins anywhere on this, and I'll show you how the body comes off very, very soon. You can sort of see the spur and pinion cover right there. And then of course we got our wheels and tires and the battery loading door underneath. So this, you basically just squeeze the sides together, the sides, and the door kind of pops out. It's not permanently hinged to the car, which I think is a great thing, because I think the original two-wheel drives that ARRMA had, the door was hinged, and it was always kind of awkward to try and put the battery in and not let the door kind of flop down and shut on you. And then you had to put like a pin that went across the chassis with a body pin on the side to hold it in place. This is obviously a much simpler design. The door itself feels really nice and solid. Hopefully it's going to last and it's not going to pop open or fall off or anything like that. So we'll see how that goes as far as longevity. But I do like the fact that they've actually color matched it to the car. I think this is really cool. Nice little touch there. We'll see if we can put this guy back in, and you can see as well while we're here, the connector is an IC5 connector. So it's nice and beefy, good for all your big 3S batteries. Generous battery tray as well, especially in the depth, which I think is going to allow us to put maybe some hard case 3S packs in there. So I'm yet to test it, but I think that might be okay to use. Now putting this back should just be as simple as that, and away we go. We can start going on with the rest of this first look and impressions of this car. So let's start with the tires. I think the rear tires are exactly the same as the ones that come on the 4x4. Same thing with the wheels. The tires are vented, not the wheels, which is a big positive. Of course, on the front here, we do have some different wheels, different tires, same wheels, but different tires. So this given that this is a two-wheel drive, generally you just have like these kind of like different treads to help with the steering. So that's the idea with that, because there's no drive in the front wheels, of course. So to take the body off, there's actually a body pin, a single body pin, and I don't know if there it is. There's a single body pin right there, that big red thing. That's the only body pin that's holding this whole thing in place. So we basically reach underneath, if I can do it here real quick, and we just pull it out. and then the front should lift, and then the back slides backwards like so. And you can see that there's a nice little piece of plastic here holding the spoiler in place, and it has this little like tongue that kind of sticks out. That hooks onto the underside of the rear shock tower, which is just there. You can see the opening. And then these two pins here, you can probably make out maybe on camera, they go into two holes on the front here, and then when you slide this pin in back into place, it kind of locks it in place and stops them from popping out. So that's essentially the body in a nutshell. Has some protective tape on the sides here as well. You know, it's a typical body, really nothing too fandangle about it, other than it looks absolutely cool. I really like the graphics on these things. So well done to ARRMA once again. And here we go. So this is the chassis. One thing you'll notice is that this is a mid-mounted transmission and motor, and everything's kind of like not hanging off the back, which I think pretty sure that's how it was on the original two-wheel drive vehicles. And then this chassis layout, the way that it's kind of done, reminds me a lot of the Voltage chassis that they had. I think they had, I'm not sure if they still do the Voltage cars, but yeah, it's very reminiscent of that. The difference here being that this is obviously a different chassis, because you don't load your battery in from the side, you load it in from underneath, which is a good thing. I don't mind that. So we have a fan actually built into the chassis here, or rather bolted onto the chassis to keep the motor cool. The motor is a 4000 kV. The ESC, I believe, is a 45 amp ESC. And also comes with a little built-in fan in there. And as you can see, the cables from the ESC for your battery kind of go through here. And there is a little bit of play. You can, you know, put them in, take them out, whatever. So depending on how you're going to wire up your batteries, that's how that's going to work. You're not going to be able to put the battery cable outside of this. So this will have to stay inside the actual battery compartment. What I do find interesting is that they didn't supply any foam or anything like that. If you're going to be using like a soft case 2S or something where it's going to be dancing around in here, you're probably going to have to find your own foam to pack up that battery so that it you know, doesn't move around too much in here. So something to keep in mind when you are selecting batteries for this particular vehicle, which is something that I'm going to have to do as well. I am also going to be changing out that connector. I'm probably just going to put XT60s on it because I don't really use EC5s with any of my batteries. Or I might do XT150s. I don't know yet, but we'll see. So as I said, suspension-wise on this guy, feels really good. The shocks are plastic bodied. They are non-threaded. You know, the suspension on this feels quite nice. I think ARRMA have always nailed the suspension for the most part. I think maybe, if I remember correctly, my Big Rock 6S, the new Big Rock Crew Cab 6S that they released, which I bought about 18 months ago or something like that. That one, the suspension wasn't quite right. I think they may have had a bit of a miss on that one, but pretty much every other car, including the Typhon Grom, has always been like bang on. Like ARRMA have always done a really good job with their suspension, and on this car, it feels like they haven't missed either. I may need to put maybe a little bit of extra preload on the back, just so it doesn't bottom out too much, because I can feel it's a little bit light, and then when I get my batteries in, it might just sag a tiny bit, so I may need to add a couple of preloads, but that's minor thing. In most cases, even if they had threaded body shocks, I'd still be, you know, adjusting them accordingly for the type of driving that I'm going to be doing. Wire management on this looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at, they've created an actual bracket to keep all the wires nice and tidy. Your on-off switch is off to the side here, so again, you can swap batteries, turn the car on and off without having to remove the body. And even when you do need to remove the body, it's just a pull of this pin. You don't have to fiddle around with body pins or any hard to get, you know, those push button scenarios that they have with the 4x4, which I get the concept. I just think that one of them, the front one I think was okay. I think the rear needed more leverage to really flex and take the body off. I had a bit of trouble taking the body off on that one. But most people would say that it's probably better to be harder to take the body off rather than having it come off randomly when you're bashing. So moving on to the rest of the car, wheelie bar, as I mentioned earlier, is back here. I don't believe that this is adjustable in any way. I think it's pretty much fixed, but it does look nice and solid. There is a tiny bit of give there. The front bumper has almost no give. It's incredibly solid right at the front. The shock towers don't have any adjustments or anything like that. This is essentially a basher's vehicle. You're going to take it out of the box, charge up some batteries, and away you go. Like this, you don't really need to worry about adjusting anything or setting anything other than the preload on your shocks. And that really comes down to the type of driving you're going to be doing. If you're just going to be going, you know, car park bashing or going out in the backyard and just mostly on flat terrain, you probably don't do anything. You don't need to do anything to the preloads. But if you're going to go and do some jumping, just as I am, well, chances are you're probably going to add a couple of preload spaces in here just to stop the car from bottoming out too much when you're coming off those jumps. Aside from that, there are no adjustable toe links or camber links on the rear here. We do have telescopic plastic drive shafts, which is, they've been pretty good, I think, for the most of the 4x4 vehicles that you know, I've had and worked on in the past. I think those drive shafts should be fine. There used to be this thing where one of the, like a screw inside would back out and then people would lose drive. So I don't know if that's going to happen to me. Maybe I'm foreshadowing something, but we'll see what happens when I drive this thing. Steering servo is all metal geared. I don't know the kilogram rating on it, but if I find it, I'll put it up on screen because it wasn't on the box. At least I don't think it was. I did look for that. Yeah, I think that's about it in a nutshell. I mean, it's a very simple design. It's only two-wheel drive. There aren't a lot of adjustments. The rear shock tower, if you can even call it that, it's just a piece of plastic that's like bolted onto the actual chassis itself. I don't know what kind of mischief you need to get yourself into to break any of these like hidden components. Even the front shock tower is bolted directly and supported by the actual chassis, the way it kicks up. So even if you take a massive hit on the front, like how are you going to break any of that? This looks like a really, really tough, good basher. I hope that this is going to work out okay, because of course I did pay for this with my own money, and you know, it's always a little bit different when you pay for your own stuff because you do want it to perform well. And if I can get this body pin to work, this will be, oh, I had it pushed in. That's probably not going to help. Let's see if I can, there we go. Yes, now I got it. So there we go. So that's how the body goes on. Just remember the pin needs to be out for you to put them on. And that's our remote. And that's the Vorteks two-wheel drive stadium truck from ARRMA. Really looking forward to driving this thing. I want to see what it can do. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to take it out to the park and give it a good old-fashioned Aussie RC playground bashing. Right, so that's going to wrap it up for yet another unboxing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Now before I go, I do want to give a big shout out to Metro Hobbies, who once again have helped me out with this car. They had a couple of these in stock. They also helped me out with the plane that I'm going to be showcasing on my second channel, where I put up all my aeroplane videos. So if you're interested in any of that, check the video description. Look out for Aussie RC Airspace. That's where I put all my plane videos. So yeah, big shout out to Metro Hobbies for helping me out with this car, and I'm sure I'll be back again to get some more cars in the future. But that's going to wrap it up for yet another unboxing, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. Definitely helps with the algorithm, and the YouTube gods kind of promote this video a little bit more if you do that. Leave a comment if you have something to say. And as always, I'll be speaking to you all next time.